Hi everyone. Welcome to the October garden tour.
It's fall here, it's cloudy and it's cool, perfect weather for filming.
It rained last night, so everything is really popping. So I can't wait to show you around and see what's changed this month. Well, this month has kind of been a transition month in the garden. We've had a couple weeks of hot weather. Now it's finally starting to cool off, but we have had some really cold nights. So a lot of the warm weather vegetables are starting to show some cold damage. We've had nights like in the low 40s and some days in the 90s, so it's really been a big temperature swing. So we're starting to pull out some of the tomatoes. This one still has a couple little tomatoes on it, but now that the sun is lower in the sky, we're not getting near as much sunlight. I think this garden bed is pretty much shaded all day, so don't expect to get much more production out of these tomatoes. But the nasturtiums are already starting to pop out, which I was very surprised about considering the heat we've had. But with the last few days of rain, I'm so excited to have early nasturtiums. I mean, look at the size of these leaves.
Yeah, I noticed these and they are a nice welcome sight again.
They really are. I really missed them from last spring. Even a couple little flowers down in here. And the nasturtiums are a really lovely cool weather flower. The leaves, the flowers, and the seeds are edible. So if you're looking for something, a cool weather flower to grow in your southern garden, nasturtiums are a great thing for you, but they are super sensitive to frost. So if you get frost in your area, you don't want to grow them over the winter, but they're a great spring flower to plant. Those are in my Bring on the Pollinators Cool Season collection, so really excited those are popping out. We also have some carrots popping out. So these were actually part of the Fall Garden series, if you guys watched that. And I went through and thinned them out a few weeks ago, planted some more little seeds right here along the drip irrigation hose. It's always fun to see those little seedlings pop up. But I think I'm going to move this to an area that gets more sun because they're not going to grow a whole lot here in the shady area. But this garden bed still has the zinnias. Now the zinnias have been a really fun summer flower. Jerry, I know you've really been enjoying the pops of color.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Oh, they're so beautiful. And I posted some really pretty pictures on Instagram a couple weeks ago. So they're still hanging on, but they'll probably start to show some cold damage after a while. So it's always kind of sad to see the warm weather vegetables go. A little bit of a bittersweet feeling. These are the little lilliput zinnias. I just love these. These are so cute. But the flowers, the colors are just absolutely popping this morning. Look at all the water droplets. Now in Southern California, you guys probably know, we hardly ever get rain. So rain is a really big event for us. We were actually sitting outside last night enjoying the drizzle. So that's been a lot of fun. Now the Gerbera daisies, these things just keep on going. They love the warm temperatures. They last through the winter here in Southern California. I think I've had these for maybe 3 or 4 years. The flowers just burst with color. So gotta love the color in the garden, right? Now something new I'm trying this year. I always like to try some new things. This is a cool weather vegetable, and I actually picked this transplant up at the garden center. It's called Asparabroc. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It's, I guess, a combination between asparagus and broccoli, but it's growing here in a 15-gallon Smart Pots and really doing well, although we've got a little muncher here. We've got some squirrels going through the garden, munching a lot of things, but I can't wait to try it. It's really fun to try something new. Now here along the wall here is my fall garden seedlings. So my goal is, or it was anyway, to get all my fall garden planted by November 1st. The seedlings are still just a little bit small, so I think I might wait another week or so, let them get a little bit more sun. These were started in the house maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. Been hardening them off, kind of transitioning them to the outdoors this week. So it's really fun to see the beautiful purple leaves. These are the red acre cabbage from the Fall Garden Seed Collection, some dill, some collards, spinach, and we got some greens in here, mustard greens, all kinds of fun cool weather vegetables. So if you live in a southern climate, fall and winter are a great time to grow the cool weather seedlings. So get some started and pop them in. And oh yeah, you guys, I am running a sale this weekend. I'm trying to clear out some of my 2021 seed stock to make room for fresh new seed stock for 2022. So I'm running a clearance sale, 35% off with the code Oktoberfest. I just got to bring you guys in here and show you the beautiful water droplets on the sage.
Oh,
look at that.
Let me get a close-up. Look at that.
It's like garden art. It's just so pretty. Now, we love sage chopped up and marinated with chicken. We do a lot on the barbecue with sage and rosemary. And this plant has actually been in here for, I want to say like 10 years. I cut it back and then it grows back every year. It has beautiful purple flowers. When it blooms, the bees love it. So if you're looking for a really hardy perennial, sage is a great herb for you to grow in your garden. So I wanted to show you guys the blackberries. These are one of my favorite crops of the summertime, and it's always kind of bittersweet to see them come to an end, but they are just about at the end of their production. There's a couple little red ones way, way, way back there, but they've actually been red for a couple of weeks. So I think just with the lack of sunlight in this area, I don't know if we'll get anything more out of them, but we will be pruning these back. And actually, we need to move these plants because our deck is kind of rotting out, so we need to get it rebuilt. We're planning on bumping it out a little bit this way. So I'm trying to find a new home for my blackberries. I'll show you the spot where I think I'm going to put them in just a moment. So coming on over here, these were some fresh new Tiny Tim tomatoes. I started, I don't know, maybe 8 weeks or so ago. Now they are getting a little bit of cold damage. So, you know, I don't know how much more production I'll get out of them, but it's pretty crazy that they've got some pretty good sized tomatoes on them actually. There's a red one. Jerry, I don't know if you can spin around or I'll spin the pot around. Kind of back in here. Look at that. So I did bring a Tiny Tim in the house. If you guys watched my video a couple weeks ago on indoor gardening, they are a great tomato to grow inside. And I really encourage you to grow something inside if you can't grow outside right now, because come midwinter, you're gonna be dying for those fresh veggies that you grew all summer long, and these are a perfect veggie to grow inside. So you can grab those in the indoor garden seed collection and get some going. There's some birds on the bird feeder.
Yeah, that's exciting. We've been trying to get more birds to come into the yard.
Yeah.
So this,
Oh my gosh.
oh, that's awesome.
I wanted to show you guys what's going on here at the fountain planter. The colors are really popping right now, and really enjoying these gorgeous profusion zinnias. These are the bicolor zinnias. And I think they just look so beautiful next to these Lystra Digendia eggplant. Just beautiful purple striping on these, and they're still producing. This spot is the sunniest spot in the garden. So these are still doing really well. Eggplant is a warm weather vegetable, and we'll probably still get more to harvest off of that. The chives are going crazy. They love the cooler temperatures. These are good ones to grow indoors as well. And the tomatoes are definitely showing the signs of the cooler nights. So these will probably come out real soon. This is the Megadom. I've got one more on here. I was kind of holding out for that one to start turning so I can ripen it in the house. And then this one back here is the Domingo. That's what it is, the Domingo. And you can tell the plant has pretty much run its course. Still a few little tomatoes hanging on. We're just kind of waiting for those to start turning before I pull the plant. But this has given us several just gorgeous giant tomatoes. These are just fabulous, delicious tomatoes. And back in here, everything's kind of weighed down with water right now. So it's really, really pretty. But back in here are the Sugar Rush peaches, Sugar Rush peach peppers. Now I haven't harvested them too much, so it's definitely time to harvest. And they're just absolutely loaded down. They're the most unusual looking peppers.
They are.
But don't let the name Sugar Rush fool you. They are so, so hot.
Pass.
So, yeah, they're even too hot for me. So I think what I might do is make some pepper jelly out of them for Christmas gifts. I think it'll be really super hot and really pretty, a pretty orangish color. One plant we have really been enjoying is this jalapeno. It has just been producing like crazy. And we've been eating these in Pico de Gallo. They're a nice mild heat. Even Camera Guy, I've slipped them in there and you haven't even realized they're in there.
Mm-hmm.
They had a really nice flavor.
Yeah.
And I think Mac kind of likes them too, huh Mac? No, not really. He's not a real big vegetable fan at all. But these are growing in, I think it's a 10-gallon or maybe a 15-gallon smart pots. And peppers are really actually pretty easy to overwinter, especially if you're in a mild winter climate. So what you do is once the peppers are done producing and things are kind of starting to die back, you cut the pepper plant off. I'm going to turn this pot here, Jerry, so you can see this. You cut the pepper plant off at this Y right here. You want to mulch it real heavily with straw or shredded leaves to protect the roots from the cold temperatures. And then just let it sit here and do its thing over the winter time. But once it comes spring, the leaves are going to pop out and it'll be the first pepper plant to produce in your spring garden. Or if you're in a cold climate, you could bring this pot indoors and stick it in the garage. So right now we do still have a few of the warm weather vegetables going here in the garden, but as the temperatures cool off, these eggplant, peppers, a lot of the profusion zinnias will start to show some cold damage, or start pulling them out, and then start putting some of the fall seedlings here in the sunny spot, because most of my garden does not get sun during the winter time. Even this spot only gets about 4 hours of sun, so things grow very slowly, but it's always kind of bittersweet The Black Beauty eggplant are still growing strong. Lots of flowers here. So we'll have to see how much longer this plant lasts. Eggplant is another plant that overwinters very well, so you could try that with your eggplant as well. The peppers here showing some cold damage. Still got another Lister de Gandia hanging on here, looking great. And my Aunt Ruby's German green, definitely seen better days here. So I'll probably be pulling this plant out this week, but we absolutely love these tomatoes. I think it's probably my favorite tomato at this point in time. These seeds are in my tomato seed collection and will definitely be growing a couple of plants next year. I think it was maybe a month or so ago, Camera Guy and I pulled out all the scarlet runner beans out of the cattle panel. Remember all those aphids, Jerry?
Yes.
That was crazy. We planted some peas along the front, and those haven't popped up yet because we've had a lot of warm weather. And look what's growing here. We've got some beans popping up. Now, I usually, when I pick the beans, when they're dried up in the pods, I usually just kind of lay the seeds down here in the soil or they fall down. Got some brand new beans, so these are scarlet runners. We'll be climbing up the trellis as long as we have, you know, non-freezing temperatures. Lots of nasturtiums reseeding, and then a lot of greens growing in through here. I grew red mustard greens in the middle section, which they dropped their seeds, and now they're growing again. So it's always good to plant things that will reseed. That way it just makes your job in the garden that much easier. And oh, Jerry, I think we do have a little pea plant coming up right down there.
Where?
Let me get over there and I'll show you where that is. We've got a little pea plant popping up here. So peas are a great cool weather vegetable. You can sow them right in your garden beds. They grow very easily in temperatures under 75. It's be kind of interesting to see how this garden bed does with a mixture of peas and beans, and see how long each of them lasts through the winter. Now over here on the Smart Pots deck, there are still a lot of the warm weather vegetables growing. The zinnias, oh my gosh, still hanging on here. Oh, these colors are just incredible. Look at the striping on these flower petals. They're so, so pretty. So as the warm weather crops in this garden bed die out, we'll pop probably some greens back in here. Now, one thing that's fun about the fall is to plant some mums. Now, these mums I've had for a couple of years. So these actually need to be cut back. But what you can do with mums is when they start to look like this, don't pull them out. You can deadhead or trim off the spent flowers. They grow back over time, or if your plant's really looking bad, you can cut it off at the base here and it will regrow. These are gorgeous flowers that last you year after year. And look at the beautiful pink blooms here. I'll show you some in just a moment that are just in full bloom and look absolutely gorgeous. Well, here in the Smart Pots urban raised bed is where I'm going to plant some cool weather veggies. I think I'll probably put some greens here, like some collard greens, maybe a broccoli plant or two. But these eggplant, I'll probably be taking out pretty soon. They've got some spider mites, not looking super great here. This eggplant actually is looking pretty good. I think this is a long, thin purple. I just love those purple flowers. Isn't that beautiful? It's just so much fun to be out here on a nice, cool morning. It's just so refreshing and so fun to see the birds in the garden too. Any of you guys like that? You like walking around your garden in the mornings? Now here we've got a California Wonder Pepper. A couple of them still hanging on here, but this plant will probably come out soon to make room for the cool weather veggies. And here's some of the really pretty fall mums I was telling you about. I just love the variation in the colors. There's so many different colors of mums you can get. Pink, yellow, purple, white. They're just such a beautiful fall color to plant.
I don't know, to me, it seems like we have more color this fall. Is it
Yeah.
me, or is that actually true?
Well, we do actually. I've been kind of intentional about planting color in the garden because it's the time of year when things start to die off.
Okay.
So you want to get those pops of color, especially with the really bright colored Smart Pots combined with the mums. It makes it really pretty.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying them all.
Cool. So hopefully if a lot of you, some of you might be, in the snow already or the cold weather, hopefully you're enjoying the color along with us.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. Now I did want to show you over here where I was considering putting the blackberries and see what you guys think. So there's a garden bed up here against the wall that I'm thinking about redoing for the blackberries. And my thinking is it gets so hot here in California that they kind of need a spot with partial shade. I think that's why they did so well under the deck area. So I'm thinking about pulling everything out here, maybe putting some kind of a trellis up against the fence so they have a better spot to climb. So let me know what you think about that. If you grow blackberries in California and have any ideas, maybe you can help me out. Now, there's been a lot going on the hill. We've been pulling things out and new plants are popping up. But I have planted like some new tomato plants here. This actually went in maybe 6 weeks or so ago. So there's lots of new growth on that. So hopefully we'll get some new tomatoes off that, or it might even overwinter. But been starting to pull out some of my summer tomatoes. These will probably all come out over the next couple of weeks. Now, one kind of fun thing is nasturtiums are popping up way early this year, like I mentioned before. But as the zinnias start to die out, hopefully the nasturtiums will start to bloom so that we won't have any interruption in the beautiful color in the garden. One of my favorite plants that's actually going crazy right now is the passion fruit. So this thing, it took a little bit of time to take off, but lately it has been going crazy. There's tons of passion fruit on here.
I didn't even notice all
I
these.
think there's maybe 10 or 15. Look at these. Not quite ripe. These are actually a purple passion fruit. The vine is just beautiful. Look at all the passion fruit up in here. Up in here, over in here, up here. So I'm hoping I get enough to make some passion fruit juice. It's kind of a tart fruit, so it's good if you put it like over yogurt with some honey, but it's just so, so beautiful. The vines are going crazy. I've been having to weave them up through this trellis. So really happy with the passion fruit right now. If you're growing passion fruit, let me know how yours are doing and how you like to eat them too. Now I want to ask you guys, come on Mac, what is missing right here? Anybody notice? It's been here all summer long. We took it out this month. The sunflower forest. The sunflowers were just starting to die off. I was actually really sad to take them out, but they were covered in ants and aphids, so I did have to pull them out. But I left the stalks in. These stalks are absolutely massive. And Jerry, if you want to get a shot of the bottom of the stalk.
Sure.
It's huge. It's probably a couple inches around. But this is going to make a fantastic, super sturdy stake for something next summer. So I just left them in just because I kind of like how it looks. I want them to completely dry out. And I just couldn't bear to take the whole plant out. So I don't know if you guys get kind of attached to plants in your garden, but I definitely do. But it actually looks so much cleaner and so much nicer with it gone. So I was happy to do that as well. Now most of the cucumbers have been pulled out. There's this one little section in here where you can see they're completely damaged by the cold. Cucumbers are very cold sensitive. So nights in the 40s, just don't cut it for them. So I haven't got around to pulling them out, but we'll be doing that this week. These zinnias though are absolutely popping with color. These are the California giant zinnias. These are in my warm weather flower collection. These are probably one of my favorites. Look at the size of these blooms. Jerry, you got to get a shot of this.
Yeah, that color is just amazing.
Incredible. Love it. And the California giants are nice because they're kind of mixed colors. Oranges, yellows, pinks, whites. Absolutely stunning. These kale leaves and the chard leaves here. Jerry, you got to get a shot of these water droplets.
Oh.
This is so, so pretty. I'm so glad we could film on this rainy morning.
I'm going to get a really
Gorgeous.
close up if I can.
Really pretty. Now the cool thing about kale and chard is that they get sweeter in the colder temperatures. They last through the summer, but the colder temperatures make the leaves sweeter and more tastier. And Gary and I actually talk about this in our recent podcast, our upcoming podcast on Gardening Coast to Coast. So if you guys haven't listened to that, I would love for you to take a listen. You can get all the links for the podcast over at gardeningcoasttocoast.net. And camera guy, should I tell him? we have a special guest in 2 podcasts. Jerry's going to be on, so you guys are not going to want to miss that. Now this garden arch and this cattle panel was filled with cucumbers. Those all came out, and we planted some cover crops here. Hopefully you guys caught that video too. Cover crops are actually a crop that's grown not for food, but just to cover the soil and add nutrients to your soil over the wintertime. So we've got some red mustard greens in through here, just popping up, which is really fun. I planted some peas here along the back. Peas are great to add nitrogen and just to get the soil covered over the winter so you're not eroding things away. So the peas haven't popped up yet, but the mustard greens, nasturtiums, and these I mulched with straw too to just help keep the warmth in and to keep things from eroding. So definitely want to plant a cover crop in your garden if you haven't yet. Here's another nice little pot of mums. This is another really pretty combination. Paired it with the Cali Kim 5-gallon here. And by the way, guys, I forgot to mention that the 30% off sale applies to the seed collections only, just to clear out my seed inventory. It doesn't apply to the smart pots, the kits, the books, or the book bundles. So you can grab that again with the code, what is the code? Oktoberfest. But anyway, the color here is just popping in the garden, and we're really enjoying that. It's actually kind of nice that things are slowing down the garden. It's nice to have a little bit of a break. I know a lot of you are in the cold in the winter time. Stick with us here through the winter. We're still gonna be doing videos, and hopefully it'll help you make it through those cold winter days, lift your spirits just a little bit. But we're gonna close out the video here by the herb garden. This is really fun to just pop outside, grab some herbs, easy access to the kitchen, and really enjoying all just the green pops of color. Thanks so much for watching the garden tour and hanging out in the garden with camera guy,
Yep.
Mac, and I.
Always great to have everyone join along.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys. And let me know how things are going in your garden, if you're growing outdoors or indoors still. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.